James Blunt. It's James, the wine guy. You know who I am. This video is about addressing people's thoughts and comments that have been made to me in the past about wines that I don't like or don't highlight on my channel. So stay tuned, I'll tell you more about that. Now, what I'm going to do, my brand has always been to make a positive inroad and to give positive discussion, not to really turn against a comment. I think sometimes YouTube, and you have to have a thick skin if you want to be on YouTube, some can be really cutting and not very nice. Overall, I think it's fine to ask questions or even question why you're doing the things you're doing. That's fine. I think people should be doing that. And I think one in the vein of that spirit is just responding to, I think the comments have been something like received recently was, the problem with your wine videos is you seem to not dislike any of the wines you review. And I think that's an easy one to respond to. Easy insofar as, in my wine channel, my wine table, which I don't feature because it's actually several tables worth of wine. And I've been very specific to my sampling community, and I've also made several things known and apparent, and there's no, hopefully, guesswork. I'm one person who does wine reviews. In terms of, this is not the only thing I do. It's not a full-time job. I wish it was. I spend a lot of my free time doing wine videos because I actually enjoy it. I love video. I love the video medium. I love talking about wine. And I like highlighting small producers or really unknown varieties in regions that are not really well known. I think for me, that's been my calling. It's one of the things on my calling card, my business card, which is to demystify one bottle at a time. And hopefully I can and have done that in the past. I can understand where someone might say, well, geez, James, everything you review is just perfect or great, or everything's a 90 to 95 point wine. And yes and no, it is and it is not. First, let's talk about the point scores. Now, I've been very careful in calibrating the logarithm of my wine reviews. So not everything's a 95 point. And, I'll look at Parker and I'll just point him out. He has a lot of 100% wines or 100 point wines. That is not possible, in my opinion. So I've been very careful to, look at the numbers that I give, not to be also grading on a curve, so to speak, as we might have had in college or high school, but to really grade and calibrate those numbers carefully and thoughtfully. And really that's been my vino veritas, is just to really think about the wines that I'm looking at in terms of the rich table that I have, the rich table of wines that I get. And a lot of small producers are out there just sending me wines, and that's wonderful. I've really specifically asked for, a private label or, retail chains. Please don't send me your wines. I won't review them. And if I have in the past, I will never do it again, simply because what I want to do for the community out there is I'm reviewing wines that are actually possible to buy in almost any location. Now, that may be more difficult for a small producer in California or Canada or Spain or Italy or Republic of Georgia or wherever. But really the intent and aim is that, these wines are really something to be found at a wine store, wine retailer, or at a restaurant. That is really that point. I don't want to review mass market wines where if I did, I probably would be, really horrified at the wines I'm tasting and dislike them all. I have reviewed some mass market wines or larger quantity produced wines. I'm not sure they're completely mass market, but I haven't been totally excited about them either. And maybe I should be highlighting that more. So I don't have time to review bad wines. I don't have time to review mediocre wines. And, I'm also careful because wine is something, and first of all, let me go back to something, which is I don't review White Zinfandel. I don't review Petite Sirah. Why? Because I don't like Petite Sirah. And it's because a lot of people, I find it very linear, and it can be pretty much all the same for me. And that's why I'm taking myself out of the equation. If some Zinfandel has Petite Sirah in it, sure, okay, no problem. I put that on my sample policy. Am I going to do 100% Petite Sirah in the future? No, absolutely not. Now, I think the disappointment might be is that I have to calibrate. That means if I have a wine score, I have to really look at that and say a Zutero Ante Adige Merlot will be very different than the Merlot in Coombsville and Napa Valley. And so I can't compare a Napa Valley Merlot based on maybe several factors. It could be a very wow and crowd-pleasing Merlot based on some factors I think people bring into the equation. That may be extraction, it could be a lot of oak on it, it could be, you know, several other factors, maybe a terribly great vintage year and so forth. Maybe that's a characteristic that comes out in that wine. That's really where I'm going to say, you know what, that Alto Adige Merlot is actually a very nice Merlot. It's more graphite mineral, less you know, extracted in terms of fruit, black and red fruit notes. I'm going to be really careful. I don't want the Merlot from a different region other than Napa to not score well. I don't want it to be about typicity. That means how typical is this? So ultimately, what I'm going to try to do is to be fair. For a small producer, say producing 200 cases, and I slam a Chardonnay or Sauvignon Blanc or Pinot Grigio, have I really hurt them? Maybe. You know, maybe that somebody's looking to my channel to say, you know, James gave it 85 points. You know, he didn't like it. It was totally horrible, and don't buy it. And really, I think there's some gravity with that. The gravitas is, I'm really recommending not buying something, and maybe I'm hurting someone's living. Maybe I'm hurting the people that work for that producer. So I want to calibrate, and I want to be careful about it. You know what? There's a lot of great wines, and there's some really not so good wines out there as well. There's some bad wines, in fact, and you know, I think we're easy to find those bad wines. So getting back to the ground here, which is my wine racetrack is really important to me. I call it an operational racetrack, which means simply that I'm tasting wines from all regions, all varieties, all producers and styles at certain times during the year, so that I'm not forgetting one region over another. I've really tried to calibrate in my videos to say, you know what, this is not going to be that Willamette Valley Pinot Noir. It's not Russian River Valley Pinot Noir. This is not, this champagne is not going to taste like a cava, etc. I hope I delineate that further. If I can, I will. And please, you know, your comments are welcomed. So I'm not going to call out the person who asked this question because it really made me think, and it made me produce a different video that I wasn't planning on making. So thank you. I appreciate it. So stay tuned for more. And you know, it's been a fantastic year. Give a like to this video if you like it. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Subscribe button's up here, and the like button's down here. Questions and comments down below. And you can also leave some on the variety of social medias I'm on, such as Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, LinkedIn, as well as Instagram and WordPress. Stay tuned for more. Sante.